So here it is. Yesterday I talked about how I just started playing this remastered set, sort of just enjoying the launch day hype and fun in that way. I was a bit scattered in what I played for that video, a little bit of this and a little bit of that. After dabbling with each, I think I very much have picked my course. Angel of Darkness is what I had my sights set on, as it pertains to this set even before it was released. With so many fans talking about this title, expressing their love for it, wishing that areas of it were bettered and improved, along with wishlisting that they'd see the rest of this trilogy completed. Well, for me, this is the type of thing that just gets me more and more interested in something. And here today, right now, I am going into this completely blind. Before this remastered collection, I never actually played Angel of Darkness. I'm going into this as a first-timer. So for me, playing the game with those adjustments and tweaks are going to be what I see for the first time. I think in some sense I'm beginning to see why fans hold this title as a special one. So yeah, I played a bit more, and wanting to just maybe exclusively play this title till I complete it. I don't know, or I may meander. You never know if you're gonna stick with one Tomb Raider game or many of them. And I gotta say, wow, at least as it pertains to Angel of Darkness, this has really kind of blown me away, especially with how much it's pulling me in. The hook is set, and I took it, and I'm latched on. I want to see where this one takes me. I think it's just this really great combination of a thriller mystery-like story, at least at the very start, along with the Tomb Raider-like action and gameplay. The two pair really well together, and the game has this sort of darker edge, again if you were watching a really good crime thriller in that way. I wonder if the rest of this game will feel more like this, or some of the more high-adventure treasure hunting. That traditional feeling that we sort of had, and maybe they blend that in with the thriller aspect to this so far. It doesn't hurt either that the very first level is set at night. It's in the rain, and you are on the run for a murder, and you don't really have the clearest picture as it pertains to what really happened there. I am a first-timer, and I'm starting to get why all of you fans really love this game. There is so much about how this game starts that it feels like there's too much to praise, and that's a good thing. This title manages to have a more traditional tutorial, with more obvious control hints provided to the player, while also having plenty of opportunities to then learn by doing. Like, this initial level acts like a tutorial, but it's also teaching you directly and indirectly. You meet sort of dead ends, like not being able to open doors or cabinets. They are locked, and you need tools to be able to do this. The game says you need a tool, an appreciated hint, but it doesn't specifically tell you what you are on the hunt for. So through exploration, once you find said tool to then aid you, you then get this sort of aha moment where the player feels like even though something so small, like opening a door or unlocking something, really provides you with a nice sense of satisfaction. Then you add on the freedom for player choice too. So yes, there is what you call a correct path to take for this first level, but when first provided this, you are then given two paths at a time, and it's up to you to then discover the correct way to figure out your way out of this level and escape. Depending on what little choices you make, you will still get those moments of discovery, along with also opening up shortcuts to prior areas, showing how this whole city, in this instance, is interconnected. The stamina bar is interesting as it pertains to the platforming. As of right now, I like how it adds a layer of tension to it. There was one part where I honestly did not know if I was going to make it, and then there was another instance where Lara even said that she felt like she was getting stronger. I'm curious if this means that her stats improved, like stamina or maybe health too. I couldn't really tell. I do like how there is a great amount of optional stuff and materials to seek out. I am playing this fresh. I want to be as stocked up with as much health and ammo as I can find, along with some money too. This is where the player is rewarded for exploring and then experimenting on how to get those items. Clues are given to the player. You can climb, and this is where you can step up, and maybe there's a pipe there. You can shimmy around over here. Stuff like that. So even just identifying and then being able to figure out how to get your way to a medkit can be really, really rewarding. I haven't even fired a weapon yet, or even had much of any type of combat. It's mostly been exploration, in a very moody setting, and it's just outright awesome. So this part might sound a bit silly, but in the beginning section of the game, I am just trying to start getting used to the controls, figuring out what I'm doing, how the game is played, and all of that. Plus, with this being an older title, you might need time to get acclimated to the game and its style. For one thing, I wanted to toy around with it, especially at the start where the modern controls were, sort of providing an alternative to the tank controls. I heard potentially that the modern stuff would be a better option to go to for this game, as this was also improved for this area too. So I figured why not, I'd put them on. I was was following the tutorial. This was kind of traditional in that respect, where most of the older Tomb Raider games are kind of like, here you go, you figure it out now. So for Angel of Darkness, I'm playing around and I get to this point where the game alerts me that I can grab onto a wire. It says hold on to the action button while you're in the air, so that Lara will then grab onto the wire. Okay, that all makes sense, but it was like each time I did this, she would not go for the wire. I would fly right over it, or before it, or even just hit it, and then she would just fall and get hurt or die. And I'm like, okay, how am I missing something? The tutorial really just laid it out, and I'm so confused. Then I took a step back, and I'm like, okay, maybe there is something that I'm actually missing here. I briefly remembered when I played the original remastered set, the action to make Lara grab was an entirely different button and not the action button like with the tank controls. So I'm like, let's just try this out with the tank controls. And even though right now I want to go with the modern stuff. So I switched to the tank and I grabbed the wire on my first try. And I'm like, either the modern controls are bugged or I'm missing something. So I experimented jumping and trying different buttons. What ended up doing it was pulling the right trigger. This was like a big aha moment for me. I got it, now I could finally grab the wire. I felt like Superman at this moment. So I wanted to lay this all out for you because this was something that I came across really early in the game, and also saw it in some of the other remasters. But there are controls that I feel like the game should do a better job of just telling the player how it's done. I did not know I needed to actually hold down the right trigger, while in the modern controls to grab onto a ledge while jumping. The game says hold the action button. The action button thingy will not work with air grabs when you have the modern controls on. So yes, this is a very long way of saying, I think something should be inserted into the game to make this more obvious to the player. And hey, maybe there is and I completely missed it. I'm not perfect. Maybe this is all me. And let me know if there actually is something in this title that does provide this to you, like this information. And also if you kind of got stuck here for a little bit as well, just like I did. So while I had a bit of a stumble in getting used to the controls, I am glad that I just went back to the very beginning of the game, essentially going through the first level a few times, and I found that it was starting to get my bearings much more. At the same time where I had some confusion and honestly frustration with how mid-air grabbing was working. After that, I was finding myself just having a great time with it. Being able to run through the same level again allowed me to both start growing my skill a bit more, along with becoming more comfortable with the game, and then I would even argue getting more immersed into the experience. I haven't even fired off my weapon yet. I only played around with the environments, trying to assess where to go and what to do. I am figuring it out, and as of right now, I'm just having a delightful time with it. Not that Tomb Raider or Lara didn't have much style before, but I feel like with core design at the time making the jump to the PS2, in terms of making the game more cinematic, I think at least with the beginning of this, I'm seeing how they really made good use of this aspect as well. Angel of Darkness is exciting, fun, and well, as far as starts go, this is really strong. What are your thoughts on all of this? Have you jumped into Angel of Darkness? Either the original or the remaster? How are you finding this particular remaster? Do you like the changes, or are there any other aspects you would change? Let me know all of this in the comments down below. If you're interested in supporting the channel, please check out my Patreon page. For just $1 a month, you can help to keep this channel going strong, and this allows me to be able to do more for my awesome audience. Please check out the links in the description and pinned comment for ways to support the channel. And most of all, thank you very much for watching.